Excellent.
Welcome, everybody, to an all-new episode of This is a Much to Do About Nothing edition of GVN Review, because I thought this was probably the most divided I've ever really seen us when it comes to any movie, really. Because I think I remember me and Mike didn't like Multiverse of Madness all that much, and everybody else was kind of just like, it was all right. I enjoyed it. I had fun. And me and Mike were just like, no, fuck that movie. So this is more so straight. No. You loved some of it. You didn't.
She was in the whole movie.
The main reason you were there. You did not love the main reason you were there for that movie.
She was in the whole movie.
Strange.
Well, to be fair, for Trayvon, that was the main reason he was there.
Yes.
Man, that man did. You know how disrespectful Trayvon is? He bought a ticket for a Doctor Strange movie, right?
Yeah,
where he blocked.
I remember the lead up to that.
And then he was stating, "Oh, Doctor Strange gonna die in this movie." It's like, whoa, hold on. Like, hold on. You don't get to do all these things. You can do some of these things, not all of these. You can't kill the man after you had already replaced him in his own movie with Wanda. Like, come on, dog. Come on, Trayvon.
Trayvon was downright disrespectful in the lead up to Multiverse. I remember that. It was wild.
It was
to be
vicious.
Fair, she could have killed him. To be fair,
I forgot what.
I mean, she could have probably killed a lot of reality.
I forgot what series we were watching before that we were talking about it. That Trayvon was so. It came up no matter what. We weren't even talking about. It wasn't even WandaVision. Like we were just. I forgot what series came right before it. But that somehow came up every time. And I was like, yo, this is wild.
Well, as we head into our discussion about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, one thing that we did learn is that Trayvon's streak of being wrong about main characters dying in a movie has seemed to have leaked out into Didge. Didge has gotten the main character sickness because Didge was convinced that those trailers were saying goodbye, Ant-Man. And to be fair, and Joel, go ahead.
You can't tell me in watching that movie you didn't feel at the end like, damn, he should have died.
He should have died. No,
but the movie thinking, damn,
look, this spoilers right. This at least been left in the goddamn quantum realm, at least.
At least
that was annoying.
No, my issue with that is you legit did that to this man before the last fucking Avengers movie. Why you gotta go back?
He should have died. So we being real.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I will give you this. Okay, Didge? I will give you this. I would not have been shocked if they did decide to do something wild like that in this movie. But I will never give you that I wanted any of my heroes to die. I just don't. I got an Avengers movie down the line. It's soon. And you want to start killing off heroes?
True. Very true.
I'm sorry, Trayvon. What was the whole reason Wanda and them fucking came back? I believe it was Ant-Man, wasn't it?
Everybody came back.
I'm happy for him. Yay.
So he had his moment.
He
should have had his RIP here.
Trayvon, the only person I know that's just like, hey, thank you, but die. Like, thank you. I mean, you can die now. you can go.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Y'all are both wrong. I mean, clearly, Ant-Man is alive and breathing. So
all of them are alive and breathing for some reason.
For some reason, y'all are just haters. This is ridiculous. What's going on, Tia?
Somebody should die, at least one.
No one should have died.
At the very least, Janet should have.
Hey guys,
what's going on? I don't know. To me, I kind of feel like, and we're gonna get into, we're gonna break this all down.
You haven't even introduced.
We're gonna break this on down because it was definitely one of those things to where it was refreshing that no one.
You don't even want to live with him. What you mean?
Wait, hold on. Damn, Trayvon, let this man live with his daughter. Where did you get that from? They had a very touching moment at the end. Where did you get she didn't want to live with him?
For the first half of the movie, it definitely felt like she didn't. She was calling him out left and right.
She wasn't hating him though. She was just rebelling.
basically called that man garbage,
which was weird.
Like most children,
you were doing nothing.
I will say that was probably one of the more weird things for me because that definitely felt forced. Like the forcing the narrative of like she's just an obvious rebellious teen out of nowhere, and it's just like, well, I kind of wish we would have had a little bit more time with her to kind of feel that a little bit more.
He was for 5 years. We don't know what she was doing during those times. She might have been rebelling left and right.
I mean, sure, but the only thing I can go with is the first time that they met. It definitely seemed very loving and very. I'm going to cherish that you're not dead. And then it like, woke up. Okay, you're alive. No, you know what happened? She got recasted. That's when she was just like, I don't fuck with him. But anyway, all right.
The recasting worked. The recasting made a lot more sense.
I won't say that, but it definitely wasn't.
She looked like the little girl.
Oh yes. Joel was saying that. Go ahead, Tia.
I was just gonna say, like, when prior to this film coming out, I wasn't necessarily happy with the recasting, only because Catherine Newton, like, I've seen her in various things, and she always just plays like the rebellious teenager. So they were like, all right, we need this rebellious teenager, but maybe this other actress ain't selling it. So let's get Catherine Newton, who's like notoriously known for playing rebellious teenager. If you've seen her in like Supernatural, there's a show called Halt and Catch Fire. Like she's pretty expert in playing rebellious teenagers.
No, we know how she got the role. I
also didn't know she was recast until I watched the movie. I was like, hey, that's not the same girl.
Really?
I missed that completely. So I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, yo, that's not the same lady.
Wait, announced it at Comic-Con. You didn't notice from the trailer the face was different from how Endgame ended?
Somehow I blocked all of that out. So I was sitting there and I'm like, yo, that's not her.
She looks so different.
That was definitely
in 2 years.
This is like, what the fuck? You got a twin with this additional daughter? All right, let me introduce everybody, and we're gonna get into it. This is how divided we were. We argued before I even introduced anybody. Yes, let me start off with Trayvon, the Lord of Chaos. How you doing, Trayvon?
Hi everyone. Don't understand why everybody lived, but we'll get into it. All right. Yep.
Is there such thing as a happy ending? Is that possible? Is that you wanted Hawkeye to die? You wanted Doctor Strange to die?
I'm just going with logic. It made sense. Okay.
You've been wrong 3 times. So let me ask you this: Are you done? Are you done killing?
Terrible.
No,
you're wrong. What? Yeah, you're wrong. Why are you trying to kill these people? Like, and here's the crazier part: you weren't even okay with just Hawkeye retiring. You were just immediate. He has to have bullet in forehead. Done, guys. And it's like, why can't he just retire? Why can't he just retire? I mean, he was thinking it. We know he was thinking.
Yeah, he might have been.
An arrow to the head, at least.
I mean, it's the same thing. That felt like the same thing, right? Oh, it did just pop up telling me Mike was our Zordon. Hey, Mike.
Heyo.
The voice of God.
To shut me down. All right.
Mike's like, in case I need to take someone out.
Trayvon. To be fair, Trayvon will not be disappointed in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 since James Gunn has already confirmed that someone's going to die in it. So,
well, we all know.
Now, the question will be, will Trayvon guess the right person? That is the question that remains to be answered.
No. He doesn't want the easy
even
one.
Better question, right?
Ones.
They won't be the one I want to die, but
right. It'll be the one that gives him most pleasure. So maybe the whole cast. We don't know. We got to wait to see what Trayvon feels.
I was gonna put money on that shit. I'm making dough, son.
I don't know, because the way Trayvon goes is that for everyone he gets wrong, he comes back with a vengeance with something insanely correct. So I'm like, it would be my luck to put something up and then I am insanely wrong, and Trayvon just sweeps up. So
we can just do a pizza bet, like loser buys pizza at the end.
Trayvon, you feeling that good about Guardians?
I'm gonna take a road trip
to do a pizza bet.
No, because I don't really like that movie for real.
That is also true. That's also true. So hold on. So you gotta keep consistency going. So we okay killing off Monica and Carol Danvers? in the Marvels.
They cut off Monica. That's racist.
Didge, how are you doing today, Didge? I'm just moving right over that. How are you doing, Didge?
No. Let him cook.
That's what I said.
Let him cook. So,
Oh my god, that was great.
I'm not going down
That
that
was
road.
great.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Didge, how are you doing, Didge?
I'm good. As you can see, I went into this movie thinking some people should have died, but we was Kangs. That's what I was there for. I was there for Kang.
Okay. I mean, we was Kangs. I see what you're saying there. Okay, I get it. I don't remember ever waking up and looking like Jonathan Majors, but I'll take a look at the mirror when I'm done. But Joel, how you doing, Joel?
I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's all.
I mean, he's not lying. It is contractual. It is contractual. Let's see if he holds that up when Secret Invasion comes out.
Oh, I'm 100%.
He thinks he won't be here. Yeah, he'll be here. Tia, what's going on?
I already ripped that contract up.
Yeah, no. I rewrote it. Tia, how you doing, Tia?
I'm good. Ever since Phase 4, the movies, right? I've gone into this thing where I watch, say, the first or second trailer, and then that's it. I don't watch any clips or anything like that. I want to go into every single movie essentially just fresh and not having seen things or anything like that. And I feel like that's been pretty good so far. I like the movie. It took a hot second for me to like the movie, in all honesty. Like, it literally took till Kang got on screen for me to like the movie. But then after that, I thought it was really good. I mean, I didn't think anyone needed to die because it wasn't like an Avengers movie. So I was okay with that. But I don't know. I felt like it was kind of the first time that like Joanna and I have been on like the same page of actually liking a Phase 4 movie. So
that is for
or
sure.
Phase 5 now. I'm sorry. Sure. I think this is
this is the first one.
I think this is actually considered Phase 5 now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, there you go. We're starting it off right.
We are. We definitely are starting it off right. No, I mean, to me, like I said, I was never the biggest Ant-Man fan, so that was always my mindset coming into it. Is that it can never disappoint me because, like, I already have a bar that this franchise can get to, right? So for me, it was just the max was like there. So I'm like, as long as you can get to that max, like I have fun, I'm laughing, it's a fun time. It did its job. That's really to me all I get out of these Ant-Man movies is that they're just fun, right?
Well,
so
and that's the thing.
That's kind of what I got.
I was just gonna say, and that's the thing. I really liked the first Ant-Man. I still say, in my opinion, that the first Ant-Man was my favorite. My biggest problem with the second one is that it just didn't feel like it had a true villain. So the fact that this movie was having a true villain in the first place was already a plus for me. So I don't know. In comparison to some of the movies we saw in Phase 4, I thought that the CGI looked good. I thought like there was a lot more positives than negatives.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree there. Yeah, like I said, I didn't have the bar extremely high. I just didn't. I thought that was the best way to kind of manage expectations. So I wasn't just putting an unrealistic expectation on a franchise I'm just already not that invested in. And I left having a really good time. I really enjoyed it. I would say if you took Wakanda Forever out of last year, this is probably the best Marvel movie in the last year and a half. I'd argue. So for me, that's really good. That's really good for me. So I thought it did what it needed to. Mike, what's going on, Mike?
All right, a little sick, but I'm glad we're here to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. Or Ant-Man 3, Wasp is barely here. That's a big gripe I have with this movie.
Now, that is where I won't argue, Mike, and I'll actually start with you because I know, Mike, me and you had a back and forth about A lot of the Black Panther characters you felt maybe didn't get enough screen time as opposed to some of the other things that maybe weren't necessary. This is why I felt this movie, this franchise going forward should find a way that Hank and Janet are not this ingratiated going forward, because it very much was like, I maybe didn't need all 5 of you, right? Like, it maybe should have just been Ant-Man, Wasp, and Cassie. That really should have just been it, right? You making it that many and then introducing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just offhanded saying I like Hank in this.
Me too. I love Hank in this.
Oh no! I didn't think he was bad, or I didn't think that he wasn't giving anything to the story. If anything, I was telling Joel, seeing Hank this badass frustrates me, because it's like, I could have just had Hank. Like, I never needed Scott. So it's like, to me, I kind of feel like either give Scott a better progression to where he starts to get a little bit smarter in handling all this shit when it comes to ants, or just like, why did we skip Hank? That's my biggest issue.
You know exactly
that's
why.
fair then.
Yeah, but Joel, that is not something you had to include into the story of Ant-Man at all.
You know exactly why. And that whole first movie told you.
That was gross. I'll never agree with Feige on that. That was just such a weird decision. But Mike, start us off. What were your thoughts on Ant-Man and some Wasp in Quantumania?
And some Wasp.
Ant-Man and some Wasp. A little bit of Wasp, right? It's unbelievably average. Like, I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's weird because I don't think I've ever had this reaction to a Marvel movie before. I'm either on like, I love it, it's the best thing ever, or I absolutely hate it. And this is just the most middle of the road film I've seen in the MCU. Because on paper, Jonathan Majors, he does great as Kang. Paul Rudd, he's fantastic as always. But it's just missing the elements that make it an Ant-Man movie, right? Like Michael Pena's not here. Like, all of the supporting characters that are synonymous with the Ant-Man franchise are gone, and now we're making essentially a new character with Cassie because of the blip and everything that has happened. She's now aged up into young adulthood, so it's basically introducing a new character into the franchise with a new actress, and it's kind of weird. And I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier about having like too many characters with Hank and Janet. The actors are great. Michelle Pfeiffer, she's great. You know, Michael Douglas, they're great as always. But it leaves Evangeline Lilly with nothing to do. There's nothing for Wasp to do in this movie.
Right.
And going back to what Trayvon was saying about deaths, Wasp probably could have died in this film. Like when we get to that final moment with Kang, right, and she goes back to help Scott, that probably would have been a good moment to end one of those characters, because if we're going to keep these other two around, there's just a lot of redundancies with the way that these characters were written in this film. Mm-hmm. Also, I feel like Kang is just really redundant with what we had with Loki and He Who Remains. It's basically, oh, if you don't stop me, my variants are going to run rampant. And we saw that already. And then the post-credits scene, it just reinforces that we saw that already. So I really wonder why this movie had to exist.
I would say probably because there's a lot of people that did not watch Loki. And they only follow the movies, and this was their big entrance of Kang, leading them forward. But I will say this, to your point of if Wasp was the one that bit the bullet, I don't know if that would have affected me at all, because I kind of would have felt the same way I did. No. Hear me out. I don't mean that to be mean at all. Hold on. Hear me out.
I know, but it's such a harsh statement.
I would have felt the same way I did when they decided to kill Gamora. Like, you just didn't give me enough individual time for that to hit as hard as you were looking for it to hit. The same way I kind of feel like if I had gotten that Black Widow movie before Endgame and then that death happened, I would have felt that a whole lot more with seeing all that she kind of left behind and sacrificing herself, rather than it just being a sacrifice. That's why I did get when people were like, well, why not Hawkeye? What the fuck does he have going on, right? And then you see later, like, oh, he does have other stuff going on. It's like, well, you get it, kind of, right? But for this, I kind of felt like you just didn't give enough. Like, you started the movie by showing that Hope has her own corporation. I would have liked to have sat with that a little bit more. Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is that in this whole tech world we're about to get into, with obviously Fantastic Four coming at some point, there being a vacancy with Stark being gone. So I'm like, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that, give her a little bit more. I'm going to be honest, I don't even feel like there was a moment of dialogue that stood out to me for Hope.
That's my whole thing of like, you can cut her out of this movie, and I don't think we miss a beat, honestly. And like, that is sad because her name is in the title of the movie.
Right.
And I was talking to a friend the other day, like, this just doesn't feel like, that's what I mean by it doesn't feel like an Ant-Man movie. It feels like a Fantastic Four movie, right? Because you introduce that Pym element with her running the company. Why are we in the quantum realm for like 98% of the film? Like, everything that makes an Ant-Man story as we know it, like to end its trilogy, is not present.
Yeah, I to me, and I'll say this really quickly too, Mike, before I respond to that directly. I kind of feel like Luis and them not being in this movie was A, because you spent 95% of this movie in the quantum realm, and B, I really do think T.I. Not being in it kind of was like a ripple effect of them kind of thinking to themselves, do we really need any of them for this specific movie? And I think that was kind of just like, no.
For Luis specifically, that's what it was. I remember seeing a quote from the director saying like, there made zero sense for him to be here.
Right. And to me, I kind of would have felt as though, where would that have fit, right? Like, if you had ended it with it, like, where would that have kind of fit to where it made sense?
We had Jimmy Woo in this movie, though.
We did have Jimmy Woo in this movie.
It wasn't even a speaking role. The man was just like... So, if you're saying that's all you wanted from Luis, then I won't argue with you at all. But if you meant, like, you wanted what made the other two movies special with him, I don't know where you would have put it. Go ahead, Tia.
I mean, you could have had, like, Luis, like, do the summary at the beginning of the movie. That could have been just his part. He could have just summarized everything if he wanted to.
He could do the audiobook for Scott's.
That would have been hilarious if he did the audiobook. Yeah, that would have been a way to do it. That definitely would have been a way to do it.
DJ Vinny's not wrong. Janet is the Wasp.
I mean, except for suiting up. Except for suiting up, yes. But that's what stresses me about her and Hank being there, because it's like, we'll never see them in suits because it's just redundant. So it's like, I kind of just don't need you guys this ingratiated then. Like, find something else. Do something else. But no, I mean, like I said, I get your main point of you could have found more for Hope to do. And that is a little upsetting. Because I really do like her as Wasp. They got her really fucking comic accurate in this movie with the haircut and everything. The suit looked great. Everything about the character looked amazing. And then they just went, we got a lot of Cassie and Scott shit to do. So,
have fun.
Have
fun getting it where you can get
in.
Yeah.
Easiest work day you could ask for, right, Evangeline? We don't really need you all that much, so,
It might have been more interesting if Scott and Cassie get stuck in the quantum realm. Hank, Janet, and Hope are the ones, like, in our world trying to get them back. That way we could have at least cut back and forth between the normal Ant-Man stuff on Earth and then the quantum realm stuff with Scott and Cassie.
Oh, you mean during the course of the movie?
Yeah, like just if I were to rewrite.
Oh, you thought he meant at the end?
I thought he meant at the end, and I'm just like, what are you guys' infatuation with doubling down on the poor man being stuck down there? Like, it happened already. No. Let's move. I got you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just mean like cutting back and forth might make an easier transition because I feel no attachment to the quantum realm at all, and I think that's part of the problem. Is like we're spending so much time in this new location with these new characters, and I just don't really care. So I feel like if we at least split the difference and have time in the quantum realm and in the Pym lab, that might have helped a little bit. I don't know.
To me, like I said, I just see it differently. And Didge, I'm going to pass it to you in a second. I just see it differently. Like I said, the quantum realm, to me, I think, Mike, I'll be able to properly gauge how I felt about this movie just once I get to Kang Dynasty, because I'm like, if they utilize the quantum realm again, then it's like, well, its purpose, served a larger service than just that movie, right? But if we never go back to the quantum realm, then I might look back like, you could have maybe found something else to utilize here besides the quantum realm. But for me, I just have to see all the pieces put together first. Wait, hold on. Let's bring that up.
That's what I was laughing at. That comment.
Too.
Listen, my guy got some holes. It was a very important moment.
He did.
I love that scene. Man.
It was. I tell you, our theater was laughing pretty hard in that moment. That was one of those like.
Oh,
that's a lot. He is really happy to get them holes.
He's also
he put him to work though immediately.
He did.
He put him to work immediately.
He did. He seemed like he's always known how to utilize holes. He just never had any. And as soon as he got them, he said, I know just what to do. It's instinctual. That's what it was. Right. That's what it was.
Kirby.
Right. He went full Kirby. Didge, what were your thoughts about this movie?
It was alarmingly average. I think that's the best way I can put it.
Alarmingly. You and Jamie using these stretching out your thoughts on this movie are killing me.
So I had just got into a huge debate with my brother about how certain Marvel movies feel like they are just a setup for a later movie.
Oh,
and
sure.
He pushed back on that. He pushed back on that heavy. And I think this is the best example of that, where this movie felt like it was purely in place just to see the next thing. And that's kind of frustrating. Like, you don't want to go into a movie just to feel like you're watching a filler. Movies shouldn't be filler. And that's what this felt like. So I loved everything that Jonathan Majors was doing with Kang. Kang, those are some of my favorite scenes. Mm-hmm. But then you just felt like so many times you're like, well, it kind of sucks that this is in the Ant-Man movie, because this just feels like it's, hey, how can we get to the next thing? And individually, Paul Rudd was acting his ass off. Like, I think going into it, you were telling me about, like, yo, they let him be him. Mm-hmm. And they did. He did great. Jonathan Majors did great. I'm sorry, I can't remember the actress for Cassie. She did great.
Catherine Newton, I think.
She was amazing. Evangeline Lilly, she was great. Individually, everybody acted their asses off, but the plot was just like,
I got you. Okay.
So it was like,
I got you.
I'm loving your performance. I'm loving what you're doing here, but something feels like it's missing. And it just felt like when you're seeing Kang, you're like, yo, I'm amped. And then they get to the whole rebellion thing where it's like, you're trying to have something going that's really serious, then you throw in a really weird joke that, like, you got MODOK trying to be very fearsome, and it's, hey, MODOK, don't be a dick. You don't have to be a dick. And it's like, did we need that?
I love that.
I like it.
I did not. I hated it.
I'm going to be real.
I hated it.
I laughed at that one.
It.
That's the one that made me laugh.
I hated it.
Yeah, that was good.
That was when it made me go like, "Oh, brother."
Now
I
wait,
think
that
MODOK made me laugh, but that joke.
Can I be fair though, Didge? I laughed mainly because Corey's delivery was so fucking genuine. For me, it didn't seem like one of those, like, oh, you're just trying to force comedy. His delivery of,
not him.
I'm sorry,
I'm MODOK and I'm not a dick. Not that when she was telling when Cassie was telling MODOK, you don't have to be a dick, and it was like, oh, this is like MODOK saying I'm MODOK and I'm not I'm Darren and I'm not a dick. That one was funny. That was hilarious. I laughed too there.
Oh, no. If you're talking about the conversation where she was saying, don't be a dick.
Yeah,
I loved it. Yes, I loved it. I loved it. I laughed. I loved it. I thought the delivery on that was awesome.
That was wrong.
I don't think you could have delivered that any better.
Now, to be fair, I guess it paid off at the end because I laughed.
For sure did.
I laughed at him saying, I'm not a dick.
You didn't like the setup, but you liked the punchline.
Right. The setup had me like, oh, God.
And you're like, oh, but it worked. It worked in the end. All right. But I will say this, Diz, before I pass it back to you to finish up. I will say how you felt about this movie. I've only ever felt about one other movie in the MCU, and that was Captain Marvel. That felt like a forced agenda to explain Endgame.
Face drop.
The side eye.
I know he was, but if he would hear me out, I'm saying a lot of that movie's dialogue in story felt very much just like, all right, clearly she's about to show up in the very next thing that we have. Let's try to force feed everything. The ship being called the fucking Avenger was fucking bananas. That was just like so many things in the movie was just like, why are you forcing this? Like, why can't this just be a authentic Captain Marvel story, right? That just explains why she's breathing. That's it. You don't have to explain how she was technically the first Avenger ever. She started like all that was just like that. You're putting too much here. Just way too much. Slow it down a little.
You want her to have those accolades to her name.
No, I'm saying it felt forced for her appearance that she was barely in the next movie. So that was even more frustrating. You force all this shit and she's barely in it. Like, that's what I'm saying. That was so frustrating.
Quickly.
That was
Trayvon
frustrating.
Was just chilling, listening. Then he heard you say Captain Marvel, and that face, woo.
Because to me, I think my biggest issue with that was
Thor: The Dark World.
We all thought you were going to say Thor: The Dark World.
Well, Thor: The Dark World was just a bad movie. I don't think that was forcing anything. It was just a bad movie. Well, Trayvon, if you know me, you know I don't think Captain Marvel was a bad movie. I just think you made a lot of decisions that were forcing an issue that you could have slowly drawn out rather than shoving it all in one movie. Just allow this character to just focus on the character.
In that movie.
Yeah, that's it. But I don't think it was a bad movie. I don't think it was a bad movie.
But there's like three things that I can call out. Like,
that were just like, I don't know. And I think what you're saying
was weird. Even watching it,
I didn't like the cat fucking like Nick Fury's eye. I hated that.
I kind of like that.
That was alarming. But I will say, to me, I think the biggest thing that stands out. Yeah, that's true. It's best to do that. I will say the biggest issue I had, Didge, as I pass it back to you, was if you feel that way about Ant-Man and the Wasp, at least you had 2 movies to establish Scott Lang, right? Fair. So, like, if you wanted to do something that was more ingratiated in the MCU and less character-driven, you've at least given us that body of work. That was in Captain Marvel's first fucking movie. I'm just trying to learn who you are. And it's just like all these other weird things you decided to mix in there. And it's like, that was it. We don't have to say it, but that was
I get it.
That was wild. That movie was wild. But what was I going to say? So I'm passing it back to you, Ditch, for you to finish up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, overall, I had an okay time. It was definitely a fun watch. The end credit scenes were great, especially the first one. That one got me really hyped. They got Jonathan Majors putting in some work on acting. This man is really putting in a new just persona for each variant. I love to see it. So I'm really excited for that. I guess if its goal was to, hey, I need you to be excited for what's to come, it did its job. But like I said, if we're talking about this movie as it stands on its own, it was just like, yeah, this is just average. That was pretty much it. Janet and Scott should have died. I'll leave with
Janet and Scott.
Janet and Scott.
Do you mean Hope and Scott? Or did you really mean Janet?
No, I really meant Janet.
Oh, got you. Okay.
She had too much history in the quantum realm.
You thought she should die there.
I didn't go in thinking like, yo, she should have died. But it was like as they were building up like her history in the quantum realm and like showing all of her as a freedom fighter, I was like, yo, she's about to go back to die there.
Can I say this? This is why I told you guys Marvel made the mistake with allowing heroes to die in those 2 Avengers movies, because now you guys have this mindset of, well, it fits, right? Like, it makes sense. This is the last day you'll live, right?
You can't tell me the way that she was going through this movie. Now, Scott was just because I thought Ant-Man should have died. Now, her going through this movie, you can't tell me it didn't feel like they were setting her up for some death.
It did seem like they were setting her up for a sacrifice, maybe, to where she sacrificed herself. Sure. I'll give you
her entire role in this movie is kind of weird because, like, why is she just? And again, that's why my problem with this entire film is that it's very contrived. Where we're talking about the quantum realm and we're asking her questions about the quantum realm. She's like, I don't want to talk about it. And then
get mad that also too.
Shit hits the fan, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Why didn't anybody tell me about this?" Like, what they were trying to talk to the entire time. Yes, like she was the problem.
Well, to be fair, they did play with that, you know, so it wasn't ignored. They did play with the idea of like, fucking excuse me. I definitely sat down and said, "Hey, can we talk this shit out?" And you said, "Get the fuck out of my face." So I didn't know what I was doing. You could have said something at any point. So they did make it very clear of like, don't be a hypocrite, Mom. I sat here and asked you. You didn't want to talk about it. So fuck off.
What, like, is there a reason why she left Kang a secret? Those are the things that where it's like, I need a good explanation for that.
Okay, I won't argue that, but it felt like what she was saying was she thought she was leaving a part of her life behind that she would never have to revisit. She thought everything was trapped down there.
I don't care. She saw how horrible he could be. On the off chance, I'm like, yo, there's some dude down there who can get into some really crazy shit if he get out. And we need to talk about this.
I don't know. It took a lot.
It's just sending Scott down in the last movie. Like, and
we got her out, so we already know that you can escape.
But. And that's where I think and me and Joel were talking about this. That's why I think the movie maybe made its biggest mistake is not being clear on the quantum realm as a whole. Because I don't think in Ant-Man and the Wasp she was sending Scott to the actual quantum realm where she was at. I don't think she was trying to send him all the way down there.
It was like an outer. It wasn't the exact.
It wasn't the exact spot.
They needed a signal though. All they needed was a signal. You sending somebody down there, he could have got snatched. Why he was down
No. But that's what we're saying. She wasn't sending him anywhere near where that was specifically. That's why when he got lost, if you notice, it was like it was outside of space and time completely. It's why he didn't age rapidly.
I'm about to say that's
the same way she did.
There, yeah.
Right. That's again. Don't get me wrong. They could have done a better job explaining all of this. Do not get me wrong. Do not get me wrong.
That's just the issue with retcons in general. When you're trying to,
it's I agree that was an issue. But...
Right. Yeah, I'm not blind to that. I will definitely step to the mic and say, yeah, they could have done that a lot better. But I do think her mentality was how difficult it was for her to even get out. Period. And then once she was out, she was just like, well, I don't think that anyone is gonna get out because it was so difficult for me to even get out just now.
And she didn't say how long, because she was down there, 30 years?
30 years.
30 years.
How long she's been separated from helping Kang. Like, she's been living for a while by herself.
Right, it's like a freedom fighter. Oh, you mean before Kang even landed. Right, okay, I got you.
Before and after. I got you. So she's had times before when he got there, and then after, she ran away from him, like running, like kind of staying low-key. We don't know how long that was, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
which is funny. Did you guys see the tweet? It was just a funny tweet. They were like, the most unrealistic thing about Ant-Man was that Janet was down there for 30 years with Jonathan Majors, and they didn't do anything.
That we know of.
Right.
No.
That we know of.
The crazier part was that she looked at Bill Murray. She looked at Bill Murray and was like, no to Kang. Yes to you. That is the crazier part.
Both of them. What you mean?
And she might have.
Right.
She might have, because as open as Hank was when he found out that she was with somebody else, he's like, "Oh yeah, I did it too," and she was just like, "Oh, this wasn't the secret I was hiding." I know what era you were born in, Hank. I can't tell you my real secret. Yeah, so it was him. Yeah, it was him. It was me and him. Back right there. You know good and well. Hope looked over at Janet and was just like, "Kang, right?" I know.
She was like, I get it.
I understand. I get it. Tia, I want to pass it over to you, Tia. You got a chance to see this a little earlier than we did. Mm-hmm. So I know you've been really excited to actually talk about this movie. So go ahead. What were your thoughts for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
Yeah, that's always like the issue when you see these movies early, then you have to wait extra long in order to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, listen, I went in with like not a lot of expectations because again, the second movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, was good.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I just saw that comment.
The man has needs, y'all. Relax. He has needs. Goodness gracious.
It's that Denzel Washington quote. I'm leaving here with something.
Yeah, I'm leaving here with
Oh my
something.
god.
With something. That's why he was so shocked. He was like, I'm sorry, you didn't tell them about me? It figures. All right, it figures. I know why you did it. I get it.
I get it.
Oh, is this Hank? Oh, I see now. Okay, all right. Okay, I get it. I'm sorry, Tia. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's just so funny.
He understood. He was like, okay.
I mean, I like the beginning of the movie, right? I like the voiceover of Scott. I like that he came out with a book. I thought that was funny. I want the book now.
It's coming out.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And my birthday's coming up, so someone must get this for me. No. But I like that actually. I like the cute little recap. I like the callback to Baskin and Robbins from the first movie. Those were all like cool things to me, right? Some part of like Cassie's story felt a little forced. It's like we haven't seen her in 5 years, and suddenly she's like, I'm in prison now because I'm doing good, and you should understand, Dad, because you've also been in prison for doing good things. And he's like, yeah, but I don't want you falling down that stuff. So, and then suddenly it was like Hank's like, oh, let's show him what we've been doing. It's like, okay, that was a bit quick, but we got to get to the quantum realm. Cool. At first, it kind of threw me a little because it is so different from the first two movies. All the different creatures in the quantum realm. It was very like weird. I thought that, oh, what are we watching right now? I almost thought we were in Thor Love and Thunder for a second. It kind of just like took me out for a moment. Janet being a freedom fighter felt a little forced too. There were like several things in this movie that felt a little forced. I want to agree with both Mike and I believe it was Didge who said that like the Wasp was essentially non-existent in this movie, which I really didn't grasp until the movie ended, and then it struck me that that's the name of the movie. So that was an interesting choice. But once Jonathan Majors came on, I thought it was amazing. In the press junket, Randall Park even called Jonathan Majors like portrayal of Kang chilling. And I agree. I think that he lived up to Janet's fear, her warning, everyone else being super on edge and everything. I thought he did a perfect job of living up to that. It was amazing from start to finish. His acting, the fight scenes, the battle scenes were amazing. I just loved how he was trying to bargain with them. I can give you time. Don't you want to see? Da, 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 da. I loved Corey Stoll coming back as MODOK. I thought that was great. And it was actually a pretty decent explanation as to how he looked like that. Mm-hmm. And I have to agree with Joanne. I loved how Cassie delivered that one line. It is never too late to not be a dick. I love that.
I love that was a message to the world.
That was a message to the world. Fair. Right. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I would love that. And I thought that there was some great callbacks again to the first movie. I liked how they still were playing on the ant thing. Scott reaching up as ants would do. It reminded me of the movie Ants. I thought it was very cool. Yeah. And I thought that scene with Hank was badass. I was like,
hell yeah, sure.
Go ants. I mean, that was an awesome line by Kang going, you talk to ants. I don't know. There was a lot of good after Kang was introduced and we finally got into the meat of everything. I think I gave the movie an 8 out of 10. I don't know. I don't take these movies that seriously, right? Did they entertain me? Yes. Did I walk away with it happier than I was, like, say, nitpicking at things? Exactly. Like I was happy with it, even though it had some flaws that didn't like overall affect the movie for me. I still want to watch it again. I guess Hope could have died. It wouldn't have made much of a difference because she really wasn't in the movie. Oh, and I like the way the movie ended with that kind of happy upbeatness, with still Scott then going, wait, I did beat him, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. It really. And did you made a good point saying, is this a filler movie? Yeah, you could definitely say that. There's definitely filler aspects to it. And I think that maybe we're just not used to that because we are so far into the MCU, and that would have been more acceptable in like phase 1 or 2. But as we get into the next phase and introduce a different villain, I think that we're going to see, unfortunately, a lot more filler content that maybe we're used to in the last few years.
I don't know. I don't know, because I do want to remind you guys, before heading into Infinity War, there weren't a lot of fillers. There weren't a lot of filler movies, because right before Infinity War, I believe, was Black Panther. And that movie felt so far removed from the typical recipe of the MCU.
I mean, like phase 1 and 2. Movies that, I mean, I guess they were all origin stories, so you can't really necessarily call them filler.
Right. I mean, obviously, the goal was to assemble the Avengers. That was abundantly clear. I mean, Stark showing up at the end of Incredible Hulk, for that really to amount to absolutely fucking nothing, it was filler, for sure. But that's an end credit scene, so that's where you can get away with it. But that Incredible Hulk movie felt removed from the rest of the MCU in that phase 1. It didn't feel like everything else. I mean, let alone the fact that we got a recast not long after. But for me, I don't really, like I said, I only really can give that to 2 movies, really, honestly, where I felt like I could have maybe just read a synopsis and been okay heading into the next thing.
I mean, this is going to be a very hot take. So bear with me.
Okay.
Civil War was kind of a filler just to get you to
stop.
where we are.
No, stop. No.
Civil War.
Stop it.
I mean, I don't think that's a hot take, mainly because that movie wasn't even a Captain America movie. That was an Avengers movie.
Like,
So
that was purely just it was great. I'm not saying the movie is bad. Filler, and let's make sure it's clear. Filler doesn't mean bad.
Mm-hmm.
But Civil War was kind of just there to get you to where they were at the start of Infinity War.
For sure. Yeah, I don't. Okay, I'm sorry. So 3 movies. I'm sorry. I just always see that as an Avengers movie. So that's why I never really viewed anything else. But yeah. I don't disagree with that.
I wholeheartedly disagree, but that's okay. But this is a conversation we've been having for all of phase 4, though, right? And I keep saying, like, the movie needs to stand on its own. If I can't enjoy this movie as is, why are you making it? If it's only going to tie into a thing 2 years from now, why am I going to pay $17 to go watch this thing? And that's been my issue with a lot of phase 4 of, you tell me that I need to watch Loki. And then just a few minutes ago, Juwan, you were like, well, a lot of people didn't watch Loki, so they're reintroducing some of those elements here. It's like, then why should I watch Loki? Or if I did watch Loki, why should I watch this movie? That's been an issue Marvel's been running into for a minute.
Because I kind of feel like
Ant-Man movie.
I don't disagree. Well, I mean, to your point, Trayvon, I just think everything.
They're gonna have to do it.
Everything is so interwoven. There's something in Loki that had something to do with this movie, right? It might not be massive, but it'll be significant enough that if you did not see, the only time I've ever felt like we've gotten 2 pieces of content that make absolutely no sense to each other was WandaVision into Multiverse of Madness. That very much felt like you clearly did not make this movie after you made that show. It seems like you made the movie. Then you were trying to figure out how to make the show fit for what you were doing for the movie, and it still didn't fit. That's the only time I've ever felt that. Again, like I said, it's a puzzle. We won't truly know, Mike, until we get to Loki season 2 and see how ingratiated everything of this movie is.
I want you to go back and watch all of our reviews for like the last year, right? And you say that every single time. When is the puzzle going to make sense, Juwan?
It's a marathon.
To be fair, I'm telling you now, it won't make sense until Kang Dynasty, where everything comes together. That's why I keep telling you, I keep putting it off, because I'm like, when the last phase, a lot of things didn't fully make sense till you got to Infinity War, right? You finally got Thanos. You got the motivations.
See,
you got
that's where
everything.
I disagree, though, because I can watch Guardians 1 and 2 without caring about Infinity War. I can watch The Winter Soldier.
For sure.
I can watch Iron Man without caring about any Avengers
So
movies.
I didn't like Guardians, though.
Well, that's why it's a little different, because as you see here,
separate.
there are multiple different storylines going on. So that's why I'm saying questions could be answered at any point between now and Kang Dynasty.
But that's my point of that's the problem. If you can't answer those questions while also making a good movie, you're failing. You
should have been there in my debate with my brother. Me and you would have won.
I don't think you're failing, because to me, if that's your goal when you're making these movies, is that these are all pieces of a puzzle that you're asking the audience to wait until it fully assembles.
All killer, no filler, right? Like that's what we've pretty much established.
Well, because you weren't telling. This is a way larger story, though, Mike. Like you've almost tripled your characters since phase 1 and 2.
I think the thing is that the important thing to look at with Marvel and I'm not like, just to use DC for a moment, right? Where DC is very separate with their movies as of right now until, they get everything situated. Marvel almost cannot be viewed as separate. It has to be viewed as a puzzle or a ladder or, just chapters of a bigger book, essentially. A long ass book. And I think that we're away from the years of, hey, you could just watch an Iron Man movie, or you could just watch a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I don't think that Kevin Feige is in that mindset anymore. I think that he wants everything to be absolutely intertwined together.
I mean, yes and no, because I didn't leave Shang-Chi feeling. I left Shang-Chi feeling the same way I left feeling when I saw the first Black Panther. Like it feels isolated till you get to the end, and then you're just like, oh, this is where it blends into everything. Like so, it's like now, if you're saying movies like that have been hit or miss, I would say, well, when they try to make movies isolated, right? Those seem to be the most shitted on. Eternals was extremely isolated. I still have no idea where Eternals ties in the larger picture. That was so isolated. But people didn't like a lot of the changes for that. They didn't like the recipe for that.
With Shang-Chi, right? Like that's the perfect example. Like the movies we loved, Spider-Man No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, they're telling their own independent stories within the Marvel machine. It's the multiverse of madness.
Hold on, you can't give it to Spider-Man. Spider-Man 100% was pushing the narrative of multiverse of madness.
I mean, it was a movie about the multiverse, but that is still wholeheartedly a story about Peter Parker.
For sure. I mean, but you can say that for Civil War.
Not an Ant-Man story.
Well, no, but I think you also get that problem because you skip the real Ant-Man to go to Scott. So you're always going to kind of feel like that a little bit. But no, I saw No Way Home the same way as Civil War.
I disagree there, but
I think that.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Go ahead, T. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say because listen again, the third Ant-Man, this one, Quantumania, was very much different tonally than the first two Ant-Man movies. When you're looking at it as a trilogy, you're like, ooh, wow, that really went way left. And I know they were trying to get to the quantum realm, which you go through with Ant-Man, but realistically, you could have probably woven this with anyone, other than Ant-Man, and it still would have been a movie. You didn't really need, as one of you guys said, 5 people to travel to the quantum realm. So I understand feeling that it's very disjointed from the first two, because the first two felt very grounded, despite obviously being about a guy who can shrink to be an ant.
I don't know. I just kind of felt like the one thing that would have made it feel more like Ant-Man is why didn't you use any aspects of like a heist for this? Like, why didn't you make the thing Kang needed like a heist, right? Like the whole goal was to steal that before Kang could get to it, right? Rather than like threatening him to go get it, make it feel like what the other two movies were, which were like heist films, right? I even thought you could have played into Cassie kind of digging into her dad's roots of like when the cop said, "I know you have it, give it back," and she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about," and she like pulls out the cop car that she shrunk. Like you could have fed into that. You also could have fed into MODOK being her personal demon to overcome. right?
That's
like
an
not
Ant-Man
the whole
movie though, not a MCU progression story like what they wanted to.
No,
make
I think you still could have progressed the whole Kang multiverse narrative, but just made the movie a lot more personal to the individuals. So like this was personal to Janet, but unfortunately Janet is not the current Wasp. So when you call it Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's like, well, she ain't suited up. So why was this not more personal for Scott and for Hope? So that's what I'm saying. I thought you could have, for Cassie, made MODOK her conquering villain, right? To where it's like, I got to take out MODOK to protect the little guys, right? And that was her personal demon to overcome. And Scott's was more so of, you know, he's been trying so hard to get out of the old Scott, right? I'm stealing shit. I'm the thief. I'm all that, right? I want to be a dad now, an author. And he has to get back to his roots, right? So I'm like, there's elements to where you could have made it feel like that. But last thing I'll say before I pass it to you, Trayvon, is it feels like third movies, Feige allows directors to try to make these characters a deeper dive into the mindset of these characters, right? Like Iron Man 3 feels drastically different than 1 and 2, in my opinion. Thor Love and Thunder feels drastically different than most of those Thor movies. And then you guys saying that this feels different than the first two. It just seems like the third movie, they allow these directors to get a lot more creative, we could say, with what they want to do with these said movies.
Well,
and
it's
then
also
this seems to be what the
sometimes
turnouts are.
before you go to Trayvon, I mean, some of it is, though, it actually being different directors. Iron Man 3 wasn't directed by Jon Favreau. Multiverse of Madness wasn't directed by Scott Derrickson. And even though Peyton Reed has directed all 3 Ant-Man, the first one wasn't his original design because I now forget who the director was, but the guy
Edgar Wright, I think it was.
Yeah, Edgar Wright was
Yeah,
the one
Edgar
who
Wright.
Edgar Wright was the one who originally was supposed to do the first Ant-Man, and he was the one who decided to bring on Yellow Jacket. Peyton Reed has been very vocal about the fact that he didn't want Yellow Jacket to be in that movie when he took over, but he was kind of like, his hands were tied essentially. So sometimes that could be it too. You have different directors coming in.
I mean, and also look, Thor Love and Thunder, a lot of people didn't like. Iron Man 3, a lot of people didn't like. And evidently, Ant-Man 3, a lot of people didn't like.
But it was very...
2 is the cap. Maybe 2 is the sky is the limit.
Ragnarok was good, though.
This? I feel like the most I've seen, a lot of people saying like, "Yo, the critics were wrong." Like, I haven't seen.
I've seen a lot of narratives that sound just like this. I'm glad Kang was in this movie, and that's really where it seems like it drops off. It's never like, man, the movie itself was so good. It's more so just like, really enjoyed my time with Kang, and that's kind of like, and it's like, what else? Oh no, that was it. Like that was it. That's all I had to say.
I mean, I can't blame them. I can't blame them
neither. But I also did enjoy the movie. But it does seem like these movies where they go to part 3. Minus obviously Avengers 2.0 and Civil War. It's just these 3 movies just, and obviously Spider-Man being
stop shading
fucking
Ragnarok.
massive success. It's so funny because Ragnarok was 3. You're right. I'm so sorry. You know what it
World
is?
out of existence.
I wrote Dark World out of existence, so I went from 1 right to 3 right to 4. That's my fault. You're so right. I'm sorry. See, this is why you gotta let me pass it when I'm trying to pass it.
Dark World does not exist.
Right? Yeah. Don't let me elaborate.
No, Dark World doesn't need to exist. You're right.
I think we can all agree. I think we should actually vote on it.
Joel has been suspiciously quiet. He might
because he might
World.
be. No, I can tell you right now. No, Joel does not fuck with Dark World. This has been a conversation because I do recall saying that I hate Iron Man 3 more than Dark World, and Joel was just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm sorry. There was just a lot of things that rubbed me the wrong way about Iron Man 3.
He was suspiciously quiet, so I had to be sure.
Because I believe he's probably going to be the most positive out of everybody that talks today. So it's just Biden time. That's all. But Javon, what were your thoughts on this movie?
Let's see.
It's never good when Trayvon gives that face.
Yeah, when he takes that pause, it's like, oh shit.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and strap in. I'm about to say some reckless shit.
I just
buckle up.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, it's cool how Scott started off. Paul Rudd. It was fun, cute, whatever, cute start. Then then we got to Cassie being in jail. I didn't care. I was okay. You in jail? You were protesting. Yay! I'm happy for you that you do that. I guess. So you've been wearing the suit the whole time. I guess. I mean, I will get to that. Cause she was like, "Oh, I have a suit," and I was like, "Well, where is it?" Then all of a sudden she popped it out while she was in the Quantumania. I was like, "Where'd you get it from? You had it on the whole time?" But anyway, it's fine. Whatever. So anyway, back to the beginning. So they did this. She was sending a signal down, and then all of a sudden Janet is like having a crisis as soon as she hears that. She's like, "You're doing what?" And I was like, "How are you so like?" I just didn't understand. She never wants to talk about it. And we just thought maybe just because you were separated from your family for however long you were down there, like you were just separate. That was why you were so sad. Not just like a whole other like universe down
multiversal
there.
Hitler.
It's just
she hit that.
Like it's just like so you hit all of it.
Care.
But it's like, it just like as soon as that happened, as soon as you start talking about it, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I like so. I'm sorry. I know you guys say, "Oh, she didn't send Scott down there far, whatever." That don't work for me. You sent that man in there at the end of the movie. He was going in there and like to gather whatever quantum energy, whatever the hell they were doing. And I was like, you sent him in there knowing that man is in there. I was like, how does that make any sense?
Hold on. Also, one important thing you are forgetting, just really quickly, Trayvon. What? Remember, the exact dialogue was, Scott, don't dilly-dally. Go right in. We're going to pull you right out. And then they dusted. So it was supposed to be a quick grab, and then right out. It was not supposed to be, we dusted and you're trapped in there.
If you were this terrified, you would not send anybody in there. Period.
You gotta at least tell one person, like, yo, it is somebody in there fucking nuts.
Like
that's
the minute we send our signal down there, he might find us. Like, come on, it's just not.
She saw him destroying timelines.
I do also want to remind you guys, I do understand that she should have had this conversation, but I do also want to remind you, not long after coming out of the quantum realm, she fucking dusted. So I'm like, she kind of had a lot of things going on.
What do you mean? That's a whole other movie. Wait.
No, when she sent Scott in, she dusted Trayvon. That was the whole reason he was trapped there.
Why was
what are you talking about?
In the first place, though?
Yeah, that I think we're getting hung up on.
He was supposed to just get something and come right out.
But okay, let's frame it this way. I've got John Wick locked in my basement. And I'm going to send you, you think I'm going to send you into my neighborhood knowing John Wick could potentially come out of the basement and murder you?
Yes, if you're saying where you were sending someone was not where it could be affected.
You do not. You cannot run away from Baba Yaga.
Juan,
that's my point.
I can't trust you with information no more.
I'm just saying, if your mindset was where I'm sending you, you'll be safe. And again, if you guys are trying to say they retconned it, I don't have any argument for that. I'm just telling you based off of what was said in that movie, in that scene.
It's bad.
That was what was said.
I think that's a retcon. I think that's a bad script, honestly.
I'm just saying. To me, Peyton Reed had a lot to do with the second and the third one. I don't see how he glances over that. I just believe you guys might be looking too much into it because they definitely said at the end of that, it was a snatch and grab. He was supposed to go in, come right out. That was it. So clearly she thought it was safe.
Tell him it's a snatch and grab. Like, oh, by the way, there's another dude down there you need to look out for. Like anything. That's my point of like
what I'm not understanding, and Trayvon, I'm gonna go back to you because I don't want to harp on this. What I'm not getting from you guys is, did I miss something? Joel, was an end credit scene of Infinity War Scott fighting Kang? Like he didn't see Kang when he was trapped in there. So why was it so important?
Him.
But what does it matter? He never saw Kang. He never even saw the world.
If Scott knew his ass,
he never even saw the whole world of the quantum realm. So why is that important to you guys? Like that was never a thing.
Getting me into. No,
so
what you mean?
This isn't necessarily a problem with that end credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's more of a problem with this movie of why are we making Janet so quick to not share information? And because they have been down there before. So if she was in constant communication with them about Kang and all the stuff down there from the get-go of this movie, that wouldn't be an issue. But now the two scenes don't make any sense together. That's not necessarily
I don't.
The problem with the previous film, that's more of a why is Janet withholding information that is vital to the quantum realm when she knows that they have already been going to the quantum realm.
Again, I don't think she knew necessarily that they were doing anything that would have anything to do with the quantum realm, or she would have. I don't think she thought any of what happened in this movie was a possibility, and that's why I'm saying for me, I don't understand what the big deal is. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I don't think Cassie and Hope were like, hey, we're trying to reach the quantum realm, right? And we're sending a signal down there, Mom. And she went, oh, all right, yeah, have fun. And then all of a sudden, she's just like, whoa, hold on. What? No, I don't think she knew.
Is though, Jawan, they already went to, even if it was a different part, they were already experimenting with the quantum realm.
Yeah. And they asked her about it just so many times that she would always never say anything. And then
in reality, she just didn't want them to find out about Bill Murray.
Fair. It's fair. That's very fair.
I mean, for her not telling them all this right, and they're using it in game and everything else, like it could have been some terrible shit happening.
Can you imagine if Kang showed up and teamed up with Thanos because of this?
But it didn't. So that's what I'm saying. I think she was safe.
Then why was she so mad at them for You can't not give information and then be pissed off because they're just thinking. Oh,
but I agreed with you there.
It's a fun place down there.
I agreed with you.
You came out alive.
You are now the object of my frustrations now. So
I agreed with you there. My argument was not that. I agreed with you when you first said it. I said, yeah, that was weird.
I mean, she could be in the wrong.
They just think it's a fun place down there. That was the problem for me. I just didn't like that. I was like, so they just thought it was just a fun thing to look into, not it's a murderous man down there. That's the problem. So she didn't tell them this all this time for years. Trash. So anyway, okay, back to so let's jump to Kang. Like the part I did like. I liked him up until the last part where he was doing his time blast. I already told Juwan this, so he already knows it's coming. So when he was doing his time blast, you saw him hitting people and they were literally disappearing. I was okay, wow, he's really powerful. Then all of a sudden, when Scott them showed up, he was hitting them with the same blast. Nothing happened to them. I was like, so what? Did you pull the energy back? Did you turn it down? Like, what happened?
Oh,
like,
I can explain this. Hold on.
Please do.
So, you guys have watched anime, right? This is what we call plot armor.
Yep.
The plot demands that they don't die. So even if that same attack has killed someone else, it will not kill your protagonist. Plot armor.
Isn't it great? I got so used to it that didn't mean anything to me.
It annoyed me so much. I was like, you were doing all of this, and then all of a sudden they come in nothing? Like, I was like, what?
Scott's just stronger than that, you know?
He's built
They also are bigger people. You got to figure they live in the quantum realm. Right. And Scott doesn't. Maybe it's like, I don't know, scale thing.
Their bones are denser, I guess.
I don't know. I just chalked it up to, I mean, the man has a super suit on, but, you know.
No, right. I chalked it to what Mike said, with the plot armor.
I mean, I guess it could be one of those two things, I guess.
It's definitely the plot armor, though.
It's for sure.
I definitely went more so the suit, but okay.
Kang was like obsessed with asking Janet, what did you see when you looked at the thing? I was like, you know what she saw? You a murderous lunatic. What you mean? Why you asking her that? Like, God,
he was just hoping that she saw like a happy memory, like flowers or something, you know,
or Renslayer. That would have been awesome.
It was so crazy. I was like, why it's just he kept like for somebody to like want to get out so bad, and it's just I get it. I know they're trying to like stretch the movie out and stuff, but like he had that orb or whatever, took forever to use it. It just some of the stuff I was just like, what are you doing? Like, go ahead and get out. You want to get out so damn bad.
Those are specific plot devices.
I have an answer to that too, though. It's the fatal flaw. It's that's just a plot device of anything
of a villain.
Yeah, you have to always have to give them a fatal flaw because they're too powerful. So you have to give. It's either they're going to be too arrogant. They're going to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, and I'm sorry. I just wanted to give like a little nod to what Mike just said about animes. I'm an old school anime viewer. Frieza took 10 or 15 episodes to power up. So there you go.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the exact term of it, but I took a screenwriting course and they said it's you have to give a villain one of three flaws. It's arrogance, ignorance or hubris, I think is the third one. And it's essentially, otherwise your villain is going to always be too powerful. So you have to give them that fatal flaw so that way the hero can win in the end.
Right.
Essentially, you always want the hero to win at the very end of the story.
Technically, he did win.
So
yeah,
I just have a quick question, if I can, before you continue, Trayvon. What does Kang want? Yeah, I've seen this guy pop up in Loki, and I've seen him as the main threat in this movie. And I know, Kang Dynasty, wait and see. But like, you show me all these variants. What does this man want? Like, why is he a threat? Why was he destroying all these other worlds and universes?
But it's always just it's literally his arch nemesis is him. So it's always just to best the other variant. That's basically it. So the instance of go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, so the instance of him saying like, "Hey, wait till you meet the other people. Wait till you meet the other variants of me." It kind of tracks because when you think about it in the comic books, Kang is always worried about like, "Yo, these other variants. I want to rule with my specific version of me because I know how bad these other ones of me are." So,
where I agree with Mike is when she looked back at like his history, essentially, right? I got nothing from that is telling me what is your goal. Like he said, I've lost so much.
No, yeah, that's fair.
Like what? Like is this about Renslayer? Like we know the animated series did it, to where it was essentially like the Mr. Freeze story to a degree, right? To where it's just like I want my woman back, right? And I maybe got to kill a couple of y'all motherfuckers to get it. Simple, right? Made sense. Fit, right? Tracks. Here it's kind of just like, are you killing motherfuckers because you can? Like what? Like what? I don't understand. Because I'd banish you for that. Yeah, you're fucking crazy. You get the fuck out of here.
Like watching that scene play out, you could have told me that the people he were killing were murderers, right? That they were these terrible people, and he was liberating this world by taking them out. Like I had no context as a viewer what was happening, and you have the line of him saying, "Have I killed you before?" Like he's killed the Avengers so many times, right?
Right.
Why didn't we pay up and have some Avengers be the ones get killed in that sequence? Even if it's Iron Man, we don't see Robert Downey's face. We just see the Iron Man suit helmet lying on the ground, right? Like those are the moments where I'm thinking, what are you trying to tell me and convey with this character? Because I have no attachment to anything that he said or has happened thus far. But if you at least had him killing Thor or Hulk in those flashbacks, I would at least like, oh, he's a bad guy.
Well,
because
let me
instantly
have the hammer, have the helmet.
Let me ask you this before we pass it back for Trayvon to finish up. Let me ask you this, Mike. Were you accepting of not knowing what Thanos' motivations were till you got to Infinity War?
I mean, Thanos didn't show up in a story. Like he was in
the Guardians.
But he wasn't the main villain of Guardians.
No,
it was
not
just
at all. Right. Not at
right.
all.
So like Kang being at the end of Loki, I'll give you. I don't know what he wants in Loki, but he's also not the main villain, throughout each episode.
Right.
I feel like this movie should have told me if he was gonna play the Thanos role, have a different character be the villain. Like have MODOK be the villain of this movie and Kang be in the background.
And Kang shows up. Right.
Right.
Okay.
And in Guardians, Ronan is the villain. Thanos, we don't know much about him, but we still get some context from Nebula and Gamora. So that didn't bother me. When we properly meet Thanos, the Mad Titan, we know what he wants. And he, throughout that story, tells us what his goal is. And that's my point of the movie itself needs to be able to stand alone because I don't know, like we're just gonna keep kicking the ball down the field, waiting to see
more Kangs.
To see like what are all the Kangs at the end for? I still don't know. What's their goal?
I'm supposed to know.
Well, they said they were trying to stop.
I think that's what Mike's saying bothers him. He wants to know.
Us touching the multiverse.
Gotta wait.
Mike doesn't like homework, Joel.
It's just you guys say you gotta wait, but every freaking property I gotta wait.
You want it all spelled out for you in the same movie? It's the first movie to phase.
Like he's the main villain. He should have told us something.
Right. Like, don't make him the main villain.
I just want to throw this out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just
Sam.
want to throw this out there really quick before Trayvon continues. I'm okay with not knowing his motivation. And him having, I understand what you're saying, where like we didn't see a lot of Thanos prior to Infinity War, and that's when we saw his like true motivation. I'm almost a little tired of the MCU lately of their villains being the villain, then at the end we become sympathetic to them and they're reformed. That was my huge problem with Ant-Man and the Wasp, but Ghost. I'm okay with him just being a bad mother effer. I'm so okay with that. Bad. Yeah, for the sake of being bad. I'm so cool about that. Even like I thought Thanos was bad, even if they tried to sprinkle a little bit of like sympathy there. I was like, cool, still genocide, but cool.
He was right.
I mean, in 2023, I kind of have to feel that he was right. But anyway, like I'm okay with Kang just being bad for the sake of being bad. He's doing it so well, and I'm okay with it. So just want.
I guess that's again though. Like, tell me that he's just bad for the sake of being bad. They keep setting up with, oh, wait until you meet the next one. It's like, okay, but why do I care?
This is only
why should
our
I
second time seeing him. You know, I could understand you saying that like 5 projects in, but
also to kind of defend Kang in this movie, it was never Kang saying like, wait till you see the other ones. He was just saying, hey, if you don't let me escape, there are worse things that could happen. Just trust that I'm your best chance at not dying, right? It wasn't like He Who Remains. I was very much just like, look, I'm retiring. I want you to kill me. You just got to deal with that shit on your own if that's what you choose to do, right? This Kang was more so just like, hey, I'm kind of not giving you the option. I will kill your daughter if you don't fucking get me out of here. Like, it was very much just like, I'm brewing chaos, right? So for me, I'm just curious what the payoff is, because I definitely thought they could have set up, if it is Renslayer, they could have set that up a little bit in the first season of Loki. So I'm like, I'm just curious to see what it is, because we saw that they skipped Thanos' motivation being love. So I'm curious, will they do Kang's motivation is love? It just seems like that's not where they're looking to go. So I'm just curious to see what the
right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm just curious to see what, when we get to it, why was this Kang so hard pressed on just destroying every fucking thing in his path? But go ahead, Trayvon.
That's like, I mean, you guys saying like he's, just mad or, evil or whatever. But I was like, so he wasn't mad enough when they were like messing up his plans, messing up his ship or whatever he's trying to fly off on to kill any of them. Like, I didn't buy that when he was like, oh, I'm so mad. And then he got beat down by ants. I was like, what? I was like, really?
Wait, on the bridge?
It just felt like he was so angry, blasting everybody, and then the ants came. Like, it's like
I don't remember that scene. Did he have the sphere?
No,
he was outside fighting everybody, blasting and all that.
No, but did he have the sphere he was looking for? Did he have it in that moment?
It was inside. Yeah.
Okay. Again, plot device then.
Forever to get moving. But I'm just saying they were outside blasting.
Plot armor, for sure.
Yeah,
right.
And hubris. It was easily that.
Right, it was ego. It was for sure ego. I mean, he definitely could have kind of ignored them for like 3 seconds and then just took off. But then it's like, what movie do you have?
He didn't look at them as a threat. He said it all the time. Right. Every time we talked to him, he basically looked down on him. So
I mean, he didn't even fucking remember who he was. He was just like, you're not even like the Avenger I remember. Like, which one are you? Hold on. The fuck?
That's a small gripe I kind of had, where it's like, okay, so he clearly has beaten Thor because he makes reference to Thor, and it's like, and he loses to Ant-Man.
No,
let me tell you how much I wanted to walk out seeing that.
Time out. Hold on. There is a big difference. He was outsmarted by Ant-Man. Outsmarted. If you're telling me,
worse, though.
No. Here's why it's not worse. Here's why it's not worse. Diggs just finished saying that one of the flaws of a villain could just be ego. And I think his ego was, I don't even know what Avenger you are, and I killed what was the strongest Avenger with my bare hands, right? So it's like, bitch, you're nothing, right? I don't think he expected that he could be outsmarted. And remember, a lot of that it wasn't Scott specifically outsmarting him. It was the idea that Hank, with Janet, with whatever Hope was doing with Cassie, it was the group outsmarting him, right? It wasn't just like Scott beat him with his bare hands. That's all I'm saying.
His spiders, ants, whatever.
Come on, man. What you, the old man at the beginning? He ain't Spider-Man. God damn.
Like,
I'm just saying, you guys are making it sound like Ant-Man and Kang went toe-to-toe, and Ant-Man beat Kang with his bare hand. No, he just outsmarted him, and he needed help to do it.
No, I didn't say that. I said he got beat by ants.
It's funny.
He didn't necessarily get beat by ants.
He did.
No, the thing that killed him was being butt sucked into the fucking orb and disappearing. That's what beat him. The ants were like a blip in the plan.
The ants weakened him.
They preoccupied him, is what I'm willing to say.
They weakened him because he had no tech. That's the only reason he had to fight.
Oh, right. Yes, he had no tech.
He had nothing to fight him with, except his fist, which he was kicking his ass.
He's beating the dog shit out of him, bro. I thought they were going to give us American History X. I thought he was going to fucking curb stomp him. I didn't know what the fuck was about to happen. I didn't know what I was about to say. Oh, shit. They're about to get a curb stomp.
The tweet that they had when the trailer came, this is what we do to ants. I thought that was going to really happen in real life.
You know the ant community was watching this movie like, fuck him up. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sick of this shit. They felt represented. That's all I'm saying. But I'm just saying, Trayvon, it sounded like the narrative you guys were saying was like Scott beat him with his bare hands. It was just he got outsmarted. But that was because, like Didge was saying, he just had too much ego in the moment. Way too much ego. A lesson I believe he will learn the next time we see Kang. I don't think outsmarting will be how you defeat Kang the next time.
He'll blast him immediately. Yeah.
Did you hear the rumors that they don't?
I mean, he might kill some motherfuckers, Trayvon. You know, he might do it for you.
Be dead.
Say it again.
There's rumors that this Kang might not be dead.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, all I saw was him just get ass sucked into that orb. I didn't take that as death. I took that as he disappeared somewhere.
There's a lot of interesting rumors about this Kang and what happened after this.
I'm curious.
Yeah. I mean, Loki's going to be a lot of fun. If the rumors are true and there will be multiple Kangs that show up there, will you end the show in this Kang coming back? You know, because I don't think you could just have him just randomly show up in Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
I think he has to pop up somewhere.
I mean, why did they hate him so much too? Like,
right? Yeah, they definitely looked at him like, we don't fuck with that guy. So it's like we're all crazy, but that's something else.
He was the one beating all
he definitely got butt sucked. That's
what the rumor is. That's why the rumor is that, and obviously, I think it's some fans' theory is that, we know Quantum Realm goes so outside of time and everything. Is that him and He Who Remains share a lot more history than you think.
Oh, 100%.
It was a very interesting theory.
Because you know what's so crazy, Didge? It felt like, once you see this movie, it felt like He Who Remains was talking about this motherfucker specifically.
Right.
Like, he made it sound like, there's a whole bunch of us that could be scary. But he meant this motherfucker.
This is the one that he was scared of the most.
Yeah, right. This is the one that everybody at the barbecue is just like, no. You can't.
Hey, not that Kang.
Yeah. Don't ever. Do you invite it? Oh fuck. Like nah, hell no.
That's when breaking the universe. He sent his ass to the quantum.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Now I have control again.
Right. So when he breaks free, he might kill some Kang, some Avengers. Everybody might catch this shit. Everybody might catch these hands. But go ahead, Trayvon. Frank, pass it to Joel.
I just had two things left.
Go ahead.
It makes sense for them getting trapped in the quantum realm, and all of a sudden they knew how to open the portal up. I can't let that go. I was like, all of a sudden, the portal's open again. I'm like, wait a minute, how'd you know how to do that so fast? Okay, all right. Anyway, so then that was dumb. Then we got to this Council of Kangs or whatever. I
like that.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I was like, so these are the three that's running it
straight from the comics.
Well,
I don't know if those are three in the comics, but that's
the most popular. Well, I don't know about that silver one. I don't know what the fuck that one is, but
that's supposed to be apparently Scarlet Centurion.
That's what people were theorizing that it could be him for sure.
Silver Centurion, I guess. Then
right.
I don't know comics, but that does not sound right. That's the wrong color.
Yeah. Right.
Yo, I was definitely like, this is not.
Majors, so I said that. Happy for him that he gets to play all these characters. I don't know how I feel about this when we see all these Kangs or what.
I'm be honest with you.
They gotta
I'll be honest with you.
Right now, I'm not excited. To be
honest, if I can get my dream to come true, I hope that's not the last of a council we see. I hope we get the Council of Reeds. I want the Council of Reeds too. I want the Council of Reeds.
You saw the Kang in the suit.
First.
One of my buddies called him Double O Kang, and I almost
Double O Kang. I love it. I will say, Trayvon, unfortunately, I know this might be an answer that grows tiresome. You gotta wait. You gotta have to wait, man. I don't know what else to I don't know what else to tell you.
I'm not like, I'm honestly, after this, I'm probably gonna think about this movie no more. Because I'm happy for Josh.
Let Kang sneak up on you. That's fine. I mean, that might be better. Just let Kang sneak up on you.
It's not something I'm revisiting.
I am learning, Trayvon, that I think you might get a lot more enjoyment from certain things if you don't think about it. If you put no thought into it, just let it surprise you. Like casting, storylines, all that. If you just let it surprise you, I think you might not be against it as much as like you building up with like you think it should be or whatnot. Because then I feel like it disappoints you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Certain things that they do or don't do.
We saw Loki. We saw what he said, and I was like, okay, then this guy got beat by ants. Cool. I just can't. I just like. That's what my mind goes. That's how my mind works. Sorry. I'm like, oh, wait, you see my variants? Your variant got beat by ants. Like,
but that was one variant. He said variants.
Listen,
right? But like, how many times can they pull the trick though?
They were awesome. First of all, if you're Kang, you're like, I've seen ants. They ain't never this fucking big.
They fucking ants.
Like, he's a Godzilla ants.
Am I supposed to be scared of that Kang or whoever that guy is? I'm not.
No. So what that scene was trying to show you was is that Loki has built a fear of Kang. So that's why when Mobius was saying, well, I mean, obviously, I think there's a lot we obviously haven't seen because we haven't seen season 2 yet or an actual trailer. Because remember how it left off, he saw the statue of the Kang that we just saw. So I'm assuming he's probably run into that Kang. And Kang itself has built fear into Loki. So any variant he sees, he fears.
Fearing me as well, because right now I don't feel it.
I mean, I don't think you have to be afraid of Kang. I think you're safe. I think you just have to see why he's afraid of Kang.
Like at least somewhat terrifying. Right now, I'm like, he threatened a little bit. They got beat by ants. I'm not that terrified right now.
When are you ever going to be terrified?
Like,
I'm actually terrified.
He did get beat by ants.
When are you going to actually be terrified about anything? Any villain? Like literally.
Look, I didn't.
Did Thanos scare you?
He was right. I mean, I kind of.
No, he was right, but did he scare you? Did you ever feel scared from Thanos?
No.
I felt scared with Thanos. I will say.
That's what we're saying.
I felt
scared.
Everybody
would come back from being
villains. That I didn't like.
I'm just saying. To me, once it makes sense as to what his motivations are, to me, I everything kind of just goes together. I just need to know what is it? Is it the sake of just being chaotic? Or was there something that you felt the Council of Kangs took from you? And you're willing to destroy the entire multiverse to get revenge? I'm cool if that's what it is. I don't give a fuck. If that's what it is, by all means. We've all felt that petty at some point in life, right? So it's like, no problem. You want to burn the world down? Have at it. I just need to know that's what it is. And I'm willing to wait for it. That's what I'm saying. But Joel, it's been passed to you. Your thoughts on this movie and any response you have to anything anyone said about this movie at any point.
I have no response to anybody else's opinions on this movie.
That sounded petty.
But
you know he was doing. He knows he was doing. You know he was trying to do. That's okay.
That was all of us.
I'm sorry. That was some king shit over there, right? Get this man a crown.
Get Bayless energy right there.
that was the biggest so energy. Like when Shannon was like, "I'm a Hall of Famer." So the fuck so? It's like, all right, well, okay, all right, go ahead, Joel. Floor is yours.
It's just what I should do going into some of these movies. Like have a list. Things I didn't like, so it's easier for me to discuss the things I don't like them because I don't have those a lot. Because I don't really look for them, and so sometimes they go over my head, and then people talk about it, and I'm like, I don't even remember that not happening or happening. I'm like, I completely did not see it that way. So I apologize if I walk over shit because I haven't seen it since I saw it the last time and I missed it that time. So if like someone didn't get disintegrated and I didn't even notice that they got shot. Honestly, not gonna lie. The movie itself, I enjoyed. Like overall, I had a fun time with the movie. I have fun time with most of these movies. Right? I mean, to really for me to dislike a movie like this, it's really got to be to me shitty. Like I don't really like that. What this movie was at least fun. You know, I was entertained. I don't really overthink these movies, especially Ant-Man movies. No offense to Ant-Man, but they're just there to make me laugh. And like I've always I even like the first two. Like I really like what they do with it. Cause you got to remember, like I wasn't a big Ant-Man guy growing up either. You know,
was anyone?
Like that's what I'm saying. I know like at least one person that was a big fan. Mm-hmm. At least one, but I'm not one of them, right? I didn't, you know, who cares? But I was always intrigued as to how would that be translated on screen. So like I think overall, since they introduced Ant-Man, they've done a good job of adapting like his power set and him growing, shrinking, and control over the ants, or the how, like especially in the first movie, of the different type of ants that they use and how he uses it. I love that. Now this movie specifically, I really like the way they portrayed Hank a lot because I think it's the most badass Hank has been. It's like the most Hank he's been in all three movies, in my opinion. You're right. It didn't occur to me that Wasp was really in a lot of the movie. But I thought every time she was shown as a badass. Like she was shooting people, fighting people. She was the more aggressive. She's the best. She's obviously a better fighder. She's the more aggressive. She's the aggressor when it comes to between the two of them because they have to be a difference between Scott and her, and it's usually she's the aggressor, right? But visually, she had a great costume. Definitely a call back to the original Wasp and her haircut. I mean, look, she looks spot on, even though that's technically Janet's look in the comic books. But I like it overall. I loved it. I like the dynamic between Scott and Cassie in this movie. I do like the parallels between like her and him. Her going to jail for doing the right thing, just like he did. I see what they're trying to do there. Cool, fine. I was cool with that. I did like that I did like I know a lot of people complained about the humor. Like some people like some of the jokes didn't land for them or whatever. And I guess I could see that, but like for me they landed enough. Like I laughed with like Beb, which was like the putty dude that had no holes and then got holes. That's what made me laugh. I know a lot of people were thrown off by MODOK. I enjoyed MODOK and his little like the fact we got the view from behind the little tiny ass. That was funny.
It was perfect. I don't know. Like what we saw at the end of the first Ant-Man is like, oh, it makes sense that he'd look like that.
You know what it is too? Like Darren Cross, the character, is really a non-factor in the comic books. I don't give a shit about Darren Cross. He's very much meh. They did something with him. In the first one, they made him Yellow Jacket, and then he just obviously we thought he was dead, and now they made him MODOK. Like I never cared about MODOK either growing up. You know, like MODOK was just a silly looking character to me. They made him look so badass when he has the mask on. So cool. He looks so cool when he has the mask on. Now he looks silly without it, but I still think considering from the trailer, because when you see the trailer, yeah, I love that. So stupid, but I think that it worked. Whatever they did with him, I think worked. Because like the first time we saw MODOK without the mask was in the trailer, and the CGI kind of looks a little wonky. So it's kind of weird. But when you see it in the movie,
bad that face does not work in live action.
But no, it doesn't. But it's not supposed to because
no, of course not.
It's very jarring to see a weird. It's not supposed to look like
that at all.
But I think it works.
Squad MODOK reigns supreme.
Right. But I enjoyed MODOK overall. What they did with the design of him. Trying to think. I actually enjoyed the Freedom Fighters. We didn't get a lot of them. A lot of interaction with them, but I enjoyed like the quirky designs and that. It was jarring in the beginning. There's a lot of CGI. It's a lot to take in, and it might not hit for everybody.
I did like the one character with the I don't know, like
the yellow head, right?
Yeah, I thought that was cool. A cool design.
And they killed him, man.
Of course.
I liked him, and then they killed him off. But yeah, same. I remember thinking about that. I was like, he's cool looking, and then dead. But overall, that world is fucking weird. right? It's a weird looking world and it's very jarring. But like I like you guys are talking about like the quantum realm before, like him being stuck there before, and to me it was to me at least I looked at it differently because he got stuck. He was like, to me this explained how she survived for 30 years as opposed to like the opposite, because I'm like, how the fuck was she just floating around for 30? It made no sense to me at the end of it. Like when they found her in the quantum realm, what was she just floating around for 30 years? Where did she get all this stuff? Like, like I didn't understand that at all. So this movie to me at least explained how she got stuff, because like it just didn't make sense to me. Now they don't do a good job of explaining the real difference between where they get stuck and time moves quicker. You know what I mean? There, like he said, well, he was there for 5 minutes, and in our world was 5 hours, whatever.
5 years.
5 years.
So that's to me, just right quick. That's why I didn't really question Janet being stuck, because I just scaled that up to, okay, she was gone for 30 years. For her, it was a little more than a day.
Right, but like she's again, because they're not standing on anything. At least at the time when we saw, they were kind of just floating around. And then like when we go back in part 2, they kind of use a ship to maneuver, and like it's
yeah.
This is very weird. It just felt weird to me. Like there seemed like there was more there that we weren't getting, that they weren't explaining. And it looks like they kind of retconned it into this whole different world that's even below whatever the fuck they were doing. Which is fine. Obviously there's a whole other thing going on there. And look, remember there was the shot of the city down there that we didn't know what the hell's going on?
Right.
That everyone questioned, like the city in the quantum realm. I'm assuming that one of the shit that we saw it. Like that's what the city was, right? I assume. I think that was really it. I mean, Kang was awesome. I agree with everybody else's opinions. He was awesome. I thought he was great. When it comes to his motivations, I don't know really. Like I didn't really question too much. I know I was putting it together because I was like, I know if you watch Loki on 2 different occasions, they explain in the beginning that multiversal war, and then He Who Remains explains the fight, his version of the multiversal war. And to me, because time is not linear, he's not not A to B. Like when we think about it, they could have been telling us something that hasn't actually happened yet. You know what I mean? Because them killing He Who Remains established the multiverse again, right? Mm-hmm. It could have basically telling us things could be working backwards, is what I'm trying to say. Like everything that they were explaining in the TVA, because there's something that actually hasn't happened yet, because it's kind of like restarted everything once they killed him.
It's like a weird time loop type of thing.
But that's why I'm saying. That's why I was saying, Joel. Part of what I love about where we are in the MCU right now, part of what's fun about this journey is that there's so many different moving parts, right? Like factions of what's happening. It's going to be so much fun when like different characters bring in different information that someone didn't even know it fucking existed, right? Like we have to imagine whatever Spider-Man's doing right now, he has no fucking idea that this is happening. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Even though this is happening technically in linear to what Loki is going through, right? So the fact that so many Avengers are blind to what's actually happening is a lot of fun, because once you put it all together and everybody has a different piece of that puzzle, like we still need to figure out what the fuck was the beacon from the rings, right? Does that have anything to do with this? Like what was that? You know what I'm saying? Everyone kept saying
fucking Kree, I'm cool.
Everyone kept saying from the trailer, oh, those are like the ring. Nothing was said about any of that, right? So it's like, well, it wasn't that. So what is it?
Well, we keep hearing rumors that the Shang-Chi 2 might involve time travel. I think I heard something like that.
Right, yeah, that was one of the rumors. Yeah, that was one of the rumors. It could involve time travel.
We'll see. I guess
apparently they were saying it's like time travel, but like Shang-Chi will have a team of his own that goes through time travel.
Not gonna lie, that sounded interesting.
You say that, but once that trailer hits, if one of them team members is Iron Fist, I'm gonna lose my mind.
We'll see. At the end of the day, like it's what they do with it.
Right.
We'll definitely lose our minds if Finn Jones is in that movie.
I would be fine.
I believe people would lose their minds for different reasons, but I'd just be happy to have Iron
Juwan
Fist.
said Iron Fist. He didn't say Finn Jones. I think that
even though, look, I am very much of the mindset that, like how Trayvon was saying before, like you don't bring back some and not all. I would find it very disrespectful if Mike Coulter, everybody else was back. And you were just like, we don't really fuck with you, Finn. We don't fuck with you, buddy.
I'm like,
sorry.
Would it be okay if they brought him back and then killed him off in the same day? Same movie? I'm not saying I want that. I'm just saying.
I'm 100% okay if they want to be like petty.
That'd be fucked up.
No, to me, it's so fucked up. Go ahead, Tia. Go ahead.
Can I just say really quick? I've been going back and watching Game of Thrones, and Finn Jones is like in the first few seasons, and I'm like, wow, I guess I didn't realize how bad of an actor you were the first time around. Now I'm like witnessing it.
Wow.
I'm sorry. That show had so many issues. Acting was the least of my concern. The fact that I'm watching him never suit up was always numero uno. That was that. I couldn't get past that.
You know, Juwan, the only reason why I ever rewatch Iron Fist is just solely to watch Iron Meacham.
Yeah, I know. Yep,
solely.
I know. I can't argue it. The man was phenomenal in the show.
He's
but
a good actor.
Yeah, I just didn't understand how I'm looking at Jessica Jones in her costume, right? In her typical
to be fair, Jessica Jones don't have a costume.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what costume?
None of them
she wore the same outfit every fucking day.
But it's very simple jeans and jacket.
Right, okay, cool. She had the same thing.
And Luke literally
was what made it worse. That's what made it worse.
A costume though?
100%.
I wouldn't.
100%. 100%. Yes,
I mean,
they were uniformed. That's a costume.
Easier to pull off than what Iron Fist would normally have to wear in public.
But the fact that you gave Daredevil a suit and you were telling me you couldn't pull off Iron Fist,
that was the only one that actually suited up. Right. And Punisher, technically.
You should have went with Daredevil and Punisher. You mentioning Jessica Jones is just like
you just put a vest on. That's a costume.
That's what I mean. That's why
it had a skull on it, though.
Oh my!
That is
fucking okay. All right, Joel. Was there anything else of Quantumania you wanted to add?
I don't think so.
This is the comment of the day for sure. This is the comment of the day.
He was beaten, Scott.
He was.
That's the variant I want to see.
That was a great
the crazier part is I don't even think he had the Creed muscles in that fight. I think he's gotten bigger for the Creed movie. Picture if he was that big beating the shit. That's what I'm saying. Picture if he was that big beating the shit out. That is when I give it to y'all. All right. There should have been nothing that stopped
I'm
at that point.
And how much muscle he put on. I don't even think it'd be a fair fight legally in boxing because he's that much heavier than Michael B. Jordan.
He's a weight class for sure.
He put up so much.
This
is where it's unfair. Oh, that is true for heavyweights. There is no max. That is true, Didge.
There is no max.
No, there's no max for heavyweights.
That means Michael B. Jordan had to just make weight.
Yes, he had to make the weight. Right. Yo, his transformation is so wild. He gained breast. Like, if you look at him in Creed 3, he got so buff.
What was that magazine?
He got muscle breasts.
Where he's wearing the scarf or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, yep.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
He looks massive in that.
Yes.
Yeah. Like if you pop him, you look at
you can take a little pin.
The thing with Jonathan Majors is when I see him, it's like, I feel bad for the rest of the Avengers, and I didn't even feel bad for them with Thanos. I didn't even feel bad for them
because that's different. That was Josh Brolin standing on stilts and shit. This is pure Jonathan Majors. I will fuck you up, and that has to be. That's where you should be terrified of, Trayvon. It's like in the Creed body into Kang Dynasty. That's where the fear should come.
You're not getting near me. What?
I saw somebody talking about.
Can we show this?
I saw somebody talking about this, and somebody replied like, "You gonna tell that to Jonathan Majors though?"
That's true.
Hey, the guy who was talking, he was like, "All right, you're right.
Hell yeah. I don't say shit to him.
Somebody
no one at Marvel
to make him look like Don Flamingo from
One
Piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he wears something very similar to that. I'm like, oh, that was
this is crazy.
He's Scarlett's favorite anime character.
The jacket is fly.
Yo, this is like crazy. Like
This whole outfit is fly.
Kevin Feige needs to like pull him aside and be like, Jonathan, you can't do this anymore because now it's just not realistic that any of the Avengers can beat you.
No. You know what it is? You know why he should keep it? Is because that forces Chris Hemsworth to get even more buff for the time where he meets Kang.
He was massive in Thor.
He was. Now he has to get bigger. And you know Chris Hemsworth's like, I'm up for that challenge. Fuck it. I'll lift weights. I don't give a shit.
Oh, man, look at it. Look how similar it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is wild. All right, Mike, take this porn down. All right, so
that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's gonna pass the YouTube guidelines
YouTube, for sure.
It's all right.
Yo, this is not a family. This is a
right?
family show.
No, this is not a family show, but YouTube needs to understand. That's the problem. But my final question going around to everybody is, heading forward into Phase 5, what's the one thing you're looking forward to the most? It could be Kang, it could be a different movie, whatever it is. I'm just curious what everyone's most anticipated is for Phase 5. Trayvon, I'll start with you because I kind of feel like I know what it is. It's something that maybe comes out in, I don't know, November 10th.
July.
Is that your most anticipated for Phase 5?
What is in Phase 5?
It's short. To be fair, it's short.
We just heard that it actually ends with Deadpool 3 now. It was supposed to end with Thunderbolts.
Right. It'll end with Deadpool 3.
It might end with Deadpool 3. Mm-hmm. So you have all that in between. So you got, let's say, Guardians, you got Marvels, Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, Blade, and Deadpool 3. And then the shows in between. Right. As of right now, Secret Invasion, Loki, Daredevil,
what if
hopefully Echo and
Echo,
Ironheart,
Agatha.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, unless they choose to cancel that.
They did pause that indefinitely. So
yeah,
but that means like till next
pause what?
Agatha
and Echo are gonna move to next year.
Marvel just saying fuck me, huh?
No. Okay. To be fair, I told y'all. I told y'all yesterday. The moment Mike said this is too much shit to keep up with, Kevin came out and said, all right, we're going to dial it down a little bit. And it seems like Agatha might be one of the pay cuts. That might be a pay cut, Trayvon. That's all I'm saying. Blame Mike. He put it into the ether. Now Feige's like, you know what? Let me read this shit.
Photography already started for Agatha.
Photography
already started for Agatha. So,
hey, hold on. Echo is a whole demographic of people you got to reach out to, Trayvon.
Nah,
you cut that shit.
You're not about to do that.
Done.
I actually
cut that shit.
I would prefer them not to cut Echo. I want to.
Thank you, dude.
I'm looking forward
Dave wants to watch the Daredevil show that's not about Daredevil. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, that's
I'm not gonna be disrespectful like that.
I watched season 2 of Daredevil because it was the Punisher season. I'm okay with that.
Tia was saying that. That is factual. Tia was believing that.
It's the Punisher season 1. It's 100% the Punisher season 1, but I digress.
I also enjoyed the movie too. I'm glad to hear that you did enjoy it. Definitely glad to hear that you enjoyed it.
I'd watch it again.
Definitely.
That's not what you sounded like when you first came on here, Ditch.
I said it was alarmingly average. Do you know how many average movies I watch again?
How many alarmingly average movies do you watch again, Ditch?
A lot.
80% of the MCU.
Watch your mouth, Mike. Watch your mouth.
They become background stuff. You know how many stuff I just need on just in the background while I'm doing other stuff? That's all I need.
That is true. DJ Vinny, you did lead to this stop being a family show. That is true. I'm glad you took accountability. Thank you. So Trayvon, so we can get out of here. You said the Marvels. Is that your most anticipated for Phase 5?
Well, now the Agatha's off the table, I guess.
Oh, she's still Phase 5 though. Still Phase 5. As far as
we were joking. It's not been scrapped. It's not been scrapped.
Yeah. It has been
so many different
put
things.
on hold though. That part's not the joke, but
like I said,
no.
Photography has started.
What they mean is it probably won't be coming out this year like they planned to.
Right.
Yeah. You know? So that to me, don't look into that too much. Don't look into
because they've already shot a couple episodes.
Yeah, They started filming in January.
Right. So they
Aubrey Plaza went blonde. Like, yeah, come on, they're devoted.
I'm just looking at all the things that I like are getting pushed, and the things y'all like are staying. I'm just saying, So it's fine, it's fine.
But when you say that, what hurts is why do you think we don't want to see the Marvels? Like, I never understood that. Why do you think we don't want to see the Marvels?
The amount of offense Trayvon can take to anything is amazing.
Is wild, right? Because I'm like,
amazing.
I'm gonna be real.
Praising Miss Marvel and praising that end credit scene, and Trayvon's just like, nah, I don't believe that shit.
Every superhero thing pretty much this year, I think the Marvel's the one that I actually am legit hyped for. So
I know the least about it. So
Trayvon he does not believe us when we say that. We want to see that movie. Now the difference is you seem to be obsessed with the Marvels. We are just excited.
It's not so much that he's obsessed. he doesn't give shit about everything around it. So that the one thing that he wants to see keeps moving away.
That does suck, though. I gotta give it to you.
All right, Trayvon. We'll make a call to Kevin, see if that shit can come out next month. We'll see what we can do. We'll
no, don't do that. Push the shit 2024. Knowing him, shit.
He might. Tell Mike to stop running his mouth. She won't keep getting pushed. Mike keeps getting the shit pushed. Mike, I'm gonna keep putting that on you. Sorry, it doesn't like blind people, and you get Marvel shit pushed back. I mean, that's just a narrative.
You know what?
I don't like this narrative.
It's a small price to pay for salvation. I'll be Thanos. Fine, whatever. If it makes better movies, push it all back. There.
Of course, you're okay with it. You got the least harmful of the two.
I mean, that is true. But anyway, so Trayvon, it is the Marvels. That is your most anticipated, or is it Agatha?
Sure, if I get it, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, moving on. You gotta get it. Like, I don't know why you keep doing this.
Oh my God.
All right. Tia, what is your most anticipated for Phase 5?
I just want to point out first that when people act up here, I'm the one who gets the notifications from YouTube about it. So just throwing it out there, guys.
Keep doing it, guys.
Right now.
I try to stay on my best behavior. I definitely try to.
In the movies, honestly, I'm actually really looking forward to Fantastic Four and seeing like who gets cast for that. Oh, is that Phase 6?
That's 6. Yeah, that's 6.
Is it?
But we will know the cast by Phase 5. So.
Okay.
Right. Before the end of Phase 5, right. Well before.
Hopefully.
I was going to say Fantastic Four too, but I'm like, that's probably 6.
Yeah, I think that's 6.
I mean, then with the movies, I don't necessarily know.
Want me to go through it again?
But yes. Can you?
Okay.
Yes, please.
Guardians 3, The Marvels, Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, Blade, and Deadpool 3 are the movies.
Okay. I will tell you why I'm not looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, only because I am scared as hell about who is going to die.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh, Ironheart. Yeah, it's another one that might get moved back.
It's like not looking forward to that. Obviously, I'm excited for Daredevil Born Again. Like 100%. Yeah. Like I don't care about any other show other than that. Again, Guardians of the Galaxy is always fun, but I'm just not looking forward to it because I know someone's gonna die. And then the Thunderbolts. I guess then that would be probably like the biggest one for me is the Thunderbolts movie. So yeah, I'm gonna go Daredevil for the shows, Thunderbolts for the film.
Okay.
Show and film. All right.
Well, I mean, Tia just threw that in there, so yes. Now everyone.
That's not even up to date anymore. Since then, Blade has moved to 2024.
It has.
Right.
This is what they showed at.
This is what it originally looked like.
But then
we're using this. We're using this because I don't want to think. I don't want to have to think beyond this.
Got you.
Deadpool.
Throw Deadpool in there just in case.
I'm gonna go for me. Since thank you, Tia. So we're gonna do show and movie. So for me, the show is Secret Invasion. And the movie is New World Order. Those are my two most anticipated. My two most anticipated. Joel, what are your most anticipated for Phase 5?
I'm gonna go. Daredevil was definitely the show that I'm probably most looking forward to. Movie wise, like I'm fucking curious about Deadpool 3. I'm not gonna lie.
How's that gonna work?
Yeah, what the hell? That's the most curious. Like I look forward to all of it, obviously, but Deadpool 3, I'm the most confused and curious about. And Daredevil, obviously, is one of my favorite characters. I gotta
support.
Didge.
Movies is the Marvels. I'm really excited to see that.
There you go, Trayvon.
Here you go.
And TV show, as much as I know you're gonna make a joke, is Daredevil. I am really interested because that is the first one that they're going to break the mode of the 6 to 10 episodes. They were saying it's going to be a long season, so I'm really interested in seeing how that's going. Yeah, so I'm really interested in seeing how that's going to go. When obviously we know how a typical season of 18 episodes goes, but I'm curious to see how Marvel is going to do it.
Yeah.
But are they going to be actual episodes or are they going to be like 15 minutes long?
Oh, that would
kill they're actual episodes. They're actual episodes. They're actual episodes.
If they came in like, hey, these are 20-minute episodes.
How many episodes they said it was going to be?
I thought it was 12? I thought it was 24.
But that would be interesting because the Netflix ones were like 13.
Yeah, that's a jump. He said 12. He said 24. Whoa, what the fuck?
I could have sworn I heard 24.
I'm pretty
sure
it's
a CW show.
Like, I swear. Let me look it up.
I'll look it up.
I will say, Didge,
because it's
right.
the episode thing. But yeah,
I will say, congrats, Didge, on being extremely media trained.
18.
For picking Daredevil.
Well, that's 9 and 9 then.
That's a good spin.
I mean, it could be broken up 9 and 9. I think it'll be 2 parts.
Well, no, they're saying
Attack
18
on Titan
episodes
style.
season 1. They're not saying part 1 or part 2.
I mean, that's just super interesting just because, again, the Netflix ones were only 13 episodes long.
Right.
So to then have
I still think it'll be broken up.
It makes more sense. More things are being like broken up now into 2 parts.
Right. Like you is 2 parts.
Yeah.
Stranger Things, the last Stranger Things was 2 parts.
You
Attack on Titan's right. Like final season part 7.
Attack on Titan is the end.
All right, as I pass it to you, Mike, Didge, I just want to again congratulate you on your media
Oh,
training.
Hush! That was a legit interest for me.
I'm just saying, if that's a legit interest for you, I applaud your character arc coming full circle because it was fuck Daredevil only a few months ago. Like during She-Hulk, it was fuck Daredevil.
I told you.
You said you wanted to kill Monica at the beginning of this show, but I mean, you know.
I told you.
I said I wanted to kill Monica.
You did say that.
That's what I said. Hold on. Trayvon, in your world, those are 2 separate things. What did you hear and what did I say?
And that's what I heard you say.
Okay, I got you. So you're combining it because those are 2 different things. Got you. Okay, no problem. Did what were you saying? Because Trayvon's ridiculous.
I told you guys during She-Hulk, and I know you guys. Yes. By the way, this is very true. But I told you guys, I read a couple of very interesting Daredevil runs that sort of turned the arc on the character. I've been reading more interesting runs since. So it's been that. But no, it's mainly the fact that this is going to be a much longer series than any of the other series that they've ever put out. So I'm curious to see how they're going to handle that.
Okay.
18 episodes long.
Right.
I'm hearing you.
I'm hearing you. Mike,
media training is great, ain't it?
You good, boy. You good. I'm just saying. I ain't seen some shit this good in a long time. I'm just saying. Anyway, Mike, what's your show and movie?
Ezra Miller needs to find whoever is helping Didge out right now.
100%. 100%.
My gosh, the reform.
100%.
Masterclass.
Stay on, so I mean, I think he's doing fine.
So, I'm gonna cheat. It's Guardians of the Galaxy #1 because James Gunn doesn't miss. But the Marvels is another one. I'm really interested to see what they do with that concept because this is vastly different from the first Captain Marvel movie, introducing Miss Marvel and Photon into the story with Carol. I'm going to be really fascinated to see how they kind of tie that all together. And for the shows, it's Daredevil. Come on, I don't have to explain that. It's Daredevil.
Yeah, that's true. I will say as we wrap up here, the Marvels is very interesting because we just finished discussing a movie where it had 5 lead characters and it felt like a certain someone wasn't utilized as much. So I can't, because this is technically Carol Danvers' movie, right? They're not calling it her direct sequel, but it is as much of a sequel to her as you could get, right? So it's like, I'm curious to see, is the screen time divided equally, or are you making this as a direct sequel to her that just features these other two characters?
Well, just look at the logo. It's got all of their logos.
Right, because they're focused. I mean,
but it's not called. My point is, it's not called Captain Marvel. I think it's very much.
No, I get you, but I was always yelled at when I said that Civil War was 100% just an Avengers movie, and I was told, well, Captain America's story does shine through it. It doesn't get overlooked.
It's called Captain America: Civil War,
right?
That's right. The Marvels,
right? Well, also, only 2 of them are called Marvel, so I'm curious where the third comes in.
That's why I questioned if what they were going to name her, but it does seem like they're leaning Photon.
Yeah.
Probably because Captain Marvel's taken.
I mean,
and it's also a callback to Monica being Captain Marvel at one point.
Right.
That's all it is.
JD did love that time, Joe. I think he loved it more than he loved Carol Danvers, but he did love.
JD lives in the past.
He does, very much so. But we love him for it.
It's like the comic book run that's just called Robins, but like technically only one character is a Robin in that story. Like,
right,
get it,
right.
Get it.
Right. But I do believe that first trailer is going to hit hard. But thank you guys so much. You guys are great in the comment section. DJ Vinny, Christopher joining in. Thank you for joining in. Mike, what other? Who else am I missing here in the comments? I can't scroll up.
Derpy Entertainment.
Derpy, thank you for tuning in. Also,
and Cinephile.
I don't know who that is though. But thank you guys so much in the comment sections, minus this person. You guys were awesome. We had a lot of views in here. I want to thank Tia, and yes, guys, we're gonna try to get Tia on more of these podcasts. I know you guys love having Tia here. We're gonna try to get her on more. Trayvon, as always, brewing your chaos. We appreciate
We're not always
you.
This chaotic, Tia.
That is a goddamn lie.
That is.
I don't know where that comes from.
I sat through every week of WandaVision reviews. It is always this chaotic.
Which is wild because Trayvon was not nearly as chaotic then as he is now. I can only imagine if he matched his chaos energy to Wanda's at that point. Well, I don't know how we would have gotten through a show.
I appreciate it. Listen, I never know what Trayvon's gonna say, and I kind of think that's great. So,
well, you see, that's when we were witching, but now we're bitching.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah, Trayvon's been in a drought. He's been in a drought. So he's bitching a little bit.
Definitely got more comfortable. Yeah.
That is true. You've loosened up.
Hey, I tell you guys, we build a family environment here. So please get very comfortable. But also I want to thank Dig as always, and I want to thank Dig's press team for training him as well as they have. Really appreciate that. I really hope he's paying you guys well. Just want to throw that out there. The positivity shines as always, Joel. Much appreciated. And Mike, couldn't do this without you, brother. Could not do this without you. The Zordons to our Power Rangers.
The strongest will.
It does. And you have to put up with me and Trayvon almost daily. So, did you do too? What are you talking about? You do too. Hey, I'm telling you guys, look, the person who has it worse is Joel. He has to put up with me almost hourly. It's a shift. He works a shift when it comes to me.
And Joel sees Juwan in person. Just remember
that.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
The other part.
Yeah, that makes it worse. He has to look at me sometimes, right? But no, we truly appreciate you guys so much. We thank you. We're actually thinking about maybe making this maybe this weekend streaming on Twitch. I think you guys need to see the chaos that we brew trying to play.
We're not censored. I'm done.
That is chaos, Tia. That you don't. That is.
Well, that will be on Twitch only. So yeah, we won't have to worry about that. We can brew our typical chaos. Yeah, it gets really flagrant. I mean, Mike last night just left. He didn't even speak to us.
I am still sick, guys. That's why I'm not on camera. But
that is fair. But Mike, we were losing so much. Mike said, "I'm done with y'all. Fuck all this." We blinked and we said, "Where did Mike go?"
Like I'm
that
done.
comes out of streaming playing Overwatch is unreal.
Yeah, so make sure you guys, if you're not, we'll make sure we put it in the description below. Make sure you subscribe to our Twitch. It's gonna get wild. It's gonna get real wild.
Commentary, I will not be playing.
Trayvon will be doing both. I don't understand why certain people here think they have options.
No. Let Trayvon not play because he's the one with the capture card, so he can just share the feed and give us
that
great
is also
commentary.
true. That is also true, but we will also find a way for him to multitask. So don't worry, Trayvon. But thank you guys again so much, and also stay tuned if you're not subscribe to our Twitch. Please subscribe. Trayvon does often go live playing Hogwarts Legacy, and he has now assembled the full Infinity Stones of Magic. So you are not going to want to miss him just being chaotic.
Oh, trust me, I'm working towards it.
They had to learn algebra. All right, so thank you guys so much. We will see you next week for an all new episode of Much Ado About Nothing. But till then, peace.